This episode of On the Limb podcast with Nature's Voice Game Calls is brought to you by Webb Plumbing Incorporated, located at 6202 McCorkle Avenue, St. Albans, West Virginia. Webb Plumbing Incorporated has had master plumbers and HVAC specialists established and serving the Knoll Valley since 1994. 30 years of commercial and residential service that you can trust. Contact Webb Plumbing today at 304-768-4324 for a free estimate or quote today. You can also visit them on the web at webbplumbing.net. Contact Webb Plumbing Incorporated today at 304-768-4324.
Folks, welcome to another episode of On the Limb podcast with Nature's Voice Game Calls, where deer camp becomes a reality for every listener. Join us as we talk God, family, country, and everything outdoors. Kick back, relax, and have a listen. Now, here's your host and co-host, Mike and Dan.
Welcome back, folks. We're just coming back in the studio after a great time we had last Saturday night at the Knoll River Valley Ducks Unlimited Sportsman's Night Out, where we did some lives and some podcast interviews with Ducks Unlimited Regional Director Jacob Hoffey and Nathan Winterstein.
Yeah.
I got the first one right.
At least you got Hoffey right.
I know.
What was you trying to call him?
Hoft.
Hoft or
Hoft.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Nathan Winterstein, he's with Life Between the Volleys podcast. So we're going to have him on for a full episode sometime in the near future.
Yeah, I think we're going to do a collaboration with them. So we're going to podcast to podcast type thing. So that'll be fun.
Yep. So, Dan, tell us about your experience real quick about the Sportsman's Night Out. This was your first one.
Yes, it was the first one. I hadn't had the chance to get in. I was never in town. I was always working when they've had them or whatever. So, we went and set up, and we had a good time. I took the kids. They had a blast, man. They got to eat and play the games they had for the kids.
Yeah. And there was a good bit of kids there, which was good.
There was quite a few kids, yeah. So
I love seeing that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the next generation coming up. So we
First banquet and one guns. Two.
I'm getting there.
I'm just saying.
Hey, so they kept talking about the Weatherby Orions, and you had to have a flag to get entered to it. And I kept thinking about it, and I looked at the silent auction. It went higher than I wanted to pay. The first one went higher than I wanted to pay. The second one went higher than I wanted to pay. I'm like, you know what? I got a set number. If it doesn't go above that, I'm going to buy it. And that was the last one that they was auctioning off.
It was.
So I'm like, and it didn't. So I ended up paying for it. I bought the flag, which it's a high-quality flag. Don't get me wrong. It's a $100 flag in itself.
Yep, sure is.
I mean, I've looked at those flags multiple times. So I ended up buying it, and then they started doing that, and they pulled everybody up, and I'm like, man, I've got horrible luck. I'm never going to get drawn.
We were getting ready to go live with Nathan.
We was getting ready to go live.
So Dan leaves and goes up on stage, and they're calling numbers.
Yeah. So what had happened is he said, we're going to do it a little bit different. He said, the first person's not going to win it. The first number I draw is out. Yeah. I'm like, oh, and I'm sitting there thinking in my head, I'm like, this could work to my advantage because I could have 399 tickets out of 400.
Yeah. And
that one person that bought that single sold ticket is going to beat me for some odd reason. That's how my luck goes. So, he starts pulling a number. Then the guy that got kicked out pulls the next number. So on. The next guy pulls the next number. And it gets down to 3, and I'm like, man, I'm still in it. What the heck?
And then it gets to 2.
And I'm looking at the guy, and I'm like, man, this guy bought 2 flags. He had 2 flags for the night because I think he'd bought the gun of the year at the auction. So I'm like, man, he was the first one out on his first flag. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, well, good luck, brother. And I was thinking, I'm like, man, I should just make a deal with this dude. We'll just split the gun so we both win something anyway. Yeah. But I'm like, nah, we'll try it. If I win, I win. If I don't, hey, I got a cool flag.
And you know what was funny? They called number 8, and you were number 7.
I was. They called number 8, and so
that's the last 2 numbers that was left.
And on Mr. Deeds when they say, that's my name. That's exactly how I was feeling. I'm like, that's my number. That's me. So I was like, man, I just won 2 Weatherby Orion side-by-side shotguns, 410 and a 20 gauge.
Yep, double barrels.
Double barrels, man. They are absolutely beautiful.
Yep, awesome.
If I'd have had some 20 gauges last night, I'd have played with it. I had some blackbirds pestering me in the backyard.
Yep. Nice.
But I didn't have none. But I mean, it was a great showing. They had a lot of people there, so it was awesome. enough on that. Let's get into this so we can get rolling with him here. So, guys, be sure to head over to Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, YouTube, wherever you get your podcast for all the past, present episodes. Don't forget to use Podcast 10 at checkout with outdoor-pro-shop.com for 10% off your order at checkout. And also, if you're a trout fisherman, I'm sure that you've heard
Pautzke.
Pautzke Bait Company based out of Washington State. We have a great show lined up for you guys this evening, so stay tuned and enjoy.
Yeah, so I first read about Chris Shaffer and Pautzke Baits. I've been using Pautzke Baits for a long time, but Chris Shaffer was introduced to me on their website. So I was reading an article, and they were talking about, the fishing that they've done at Shavers Fork. And I'm like, man, I grew up fishing at Shavers Fork.
Yeah.
At the Bemis section. So Chris and the Pautzke Baits team, they've filmed more than 1,400 episodes in 44 states. That is a lot of film time, a lot of editing. So he's going to tell us about that here in a little bit. But so without further ado, please welcome with me Chris Shaffer with Pautzke Baits and Pautzke Outdoors. Chris, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing good. West Virginia is one of our favorite places to go, and a lot of people ask us why. And I'll tell you, you guys have one of the best stocking programs in the country, which is ironic because when we go on the internet and see our comments, all we get is negative comments. Guys, be careful what you wish for, because the other states they're not like West Virginia. I know many people don't believe us on that one, but we've been to just about every state in the country that stocks trout, and nobody stocks them like West Virginia does.
No, we do have one heck of a program. And, I was talking to some people this year. It seems like they're doing it a little bit different this year, like just doing more of the net dipping in certain locations. So they're spreading them out a little bit more this year instead of taking the truck and hose and dumping them. So that's
but that's good to hear.
Yeah, it is. It's
from
great.
Chris being an outside guy, and we love that, Chris. So we sure appreciate that.
I can tell you, we go to some states. I mean, I'm going to tell you, Georgia, we've gone there about a half dozen to a dozen times in the last 10 years, and a big fish there is 12 inches. They don't stock fish bigger than that. And a lot of guys in West Virginia, they're like, what is this?
Yeah.
I don't want this. And you guys have a program that really people should be thanking folks for, because we come back every year simply because there's nowhere else. Not only can we catch 5 species without moving our feet, but they're quality fish. And a lot of these states, the fish are so small that we keep them in the net. We don't even want to show them, put them in our hands, because people make fun of us if we did. I'll tell you what, that's not a problem in West Virginia. And, I think people should be a little bit more excited about the program rather than seeing a lot of these negative comments we get there, because it is a phenomenal program. Nobody else has Goldens, Tigers, Rainbows, Brooks, Browns, and I'm talking all in one hole sometimes. That's pretty impressive right there.
Yeah, it sure is. So first off, just tell us a little bit about yourself and your background in the outdoors.
I've been with Pautzke about 20 years now. The company's been in business since 1934. There's a lot of competition out there now, but we are the pioneers of trout fishing. We brought out salmon eggs. Most people don't realize those eggs you see in the jars, they are real salmon eggs. We cook them a certain way so they don't pop when you put them on a hook. And West Virginia is a little bit different. A lot of guys still use, worms and rooster tails and dough baits, and a lot of people use salmon eggs there too. But these eggs you get in the jar are real eggs. And I've been there 20 years and traveled pretty much every inch of North America with them. So we've been able to see a lot, and it just shows you how much we enjoy West Virginia when we come back there every year for at least a week. So we think a lot about the Mountain State. I know you guys have seen me in a lot of West Virginia, apparel. I come back for
I was getting ready to ask about that. So you're not from West Virginia though originally, but you're heavily donned with the WV apparel when you're in this state.
I don't even want to admit where I'm from, because it's not the place it was when I grew up. But every year I go back to West Virginia, I think for 15 years in a row now for a football game, and obviously some years are better than others. And I've got family friends back there that, I call family now that aren't really family, that I tailgate with and eat pepperoni rolls with and watch them. I used to get to see them burn stuff in the parking lot, but that doesn't happen anymore.
It may come back.
It's coming back soon. Yeah.
Well, there is a backyard brawl this year, so we'll see.
Yeah. The pride of West Virginia right there, what you're talking about. West Virginia football, tailgating, pepperoni rolls. I mean,
couch burning.
Couch burning.
It's going to be a good season this year. We'll have to try to link up if you get in town.
Yeah, definitely. We go to some of them.
I will be at the backyard brawl this year. I've already planned for it. I was at the last one and had the time of my life, and I can't wait to come back. It's unfortunate there's no more horns down games. I always tried to make that one.
Yes, nice. Yeah. So wait, I'm trying to think. Is that home this year?
I'm not sure.
No, they moved conferences, so there are no more Texas games.
No, the backyard brawl.
Yes.
Oh, it is home, 100%. Yeah.
So. Yeah, I thought it was. Okay. Yeah, September 13th, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So we could say
hopefully it'll be a night game. They need the blue lot to be have plenty of time for folks to get ready.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, we sure appreciate you for that support there.
Yeah, for sure.
So for our listeners, tell us a little bit more about Pautzke Baits and how you got involved with them.
So ironically, I used to be a full-time outdoor writer. I wrote for almost every outdoor publication in the country in my early to mid-20s. And then I ended up meeting Pautzke through work I've done with the publications. And now I've run the company for about 20 years. And a lot of people don't realize, for the longest time, 75 years, all we really had was salmon eggs and a couple other things. Now we've got about 200 items, and we've got into, different artificials. We've got into fake worms, fake eggs. We've got into a thing called fireballs, which is basically made from pure egg juice.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like a fake egg. We have so many things now, it's hard to show them all on video because there's just too much going on. And that's why we try to fish small streams in West Virginia, big streams, lakes, ponds. Then we can showcase the different things that we do. It's often tough to find a rock to fish in West Virginia, but sometimes we try to only film on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and maybe Thursday morning, because I'll tell you, one time we went to Upper Shavers. This was like 5 years ago. And the state told us, oh, you got to come check this out. This is an announced stocking. Shouldn't be that bad. I'll never forget. I put the drone up. There were 47 cars waiting for the stock truck. And I said, they don't do this anywhere else,
Yeah, we have those guys that we call the stock truck followers. They know the size of the tires on them trucks.
Yeah, that's for sure. There are some of those here in West Virginia.
We were at Bowden to do a hatchery tour about 3 years ago, and we got there about 7:30 in the morning, and we met the hatchery manager, and I said, why are all these people waiting at the gate? And they said, well, they want to know where we're going. I'm like, are you serious? And then another car pulled up, and another car pulled up, and that's the unfortunate thing about West Virginia is there's so many people that love trout fishing that things can be overwhelming. And we've learned the number of people that even from Pennsylvania come in, and Maryland and Virginia and Ohio and Kentucky, they all want to come to West Virginia because the program is really that good. And locals don't believe that, but it truly is. Or these people from all these other states wouldn't be coming in there to fish there.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. So you obviously, like you was talking, you do a lot of fishing here in the Mountain State. Well, we'll hit on the specifics on those here in a little bit. Tell us a little bit about some of the other streams around the country that you have the privilege of fishing, and some other states that are really good for trout fishing that you found.
It's really hard to beat the Western United States. And the reason why I say that is West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Virginia, those states are a little bit different. Your stocking programs are great, but the season is fairly short. Whereas in the West, the trout are there year round, and the fisheries don't necessarily get overwhelming because you can go there 365 days a year and enjoy it. I mean, to me, the most underrated state in the country is New Mexico. Most people don't even think New Mexico has trout. They stock millions of trout in New Mexico. Northern New Mexico is amazing. You can never get sick of going to places like Colorado, Utah, Idaho. Northern Arizona is amazing. California has an incredible stocking program. It's just there's so many people that it can get overwhelming. And, you're probably not going to believe this one, but the most disappointing stocking program in North America, and they're going to hate me for saying this, but it's true, Alaska has the smallest trout you've ever seen. Some of these fish that they stock are 1/3 of a pound and 8 inches. And that's what they put in there in the Anchorage and Fairbanks area, which is, it's unfortunate for a state that people dream of going to with the trout. It's just not the way it is.
I wonder if that's a lot to do with their salmon population. I mean, how prevalent their salmon fishing is in that state.
Well, their salmon fishing has collapsed. The last couple of years, it has been horrendous. There's been closures everywhere.
Oh, wow.
They have a lot of problems there that they're hoping to figure out. The trout program simply is it's a downer. We're hoping it gets fixed at some point. I don't think it has anything to do with the salmon program, because most of the salmon programs are, a lot of wild stock that's returning,
Yeah.
whereas the trout are hatchery reared fish. And ironically, I've taken some of my friends from, Alaska to West Virginia because the trout program is that much better. And they're like, oh my God, I've never caught a tiger before. These rainbows are huge. I mean,
Yeah.
Wow.
there are some lakes in remote Alaska that are amazing, some of the best trout fishing you've ever seen. But the average stocked lake you would go to, you're going to catch 8 to 9 inch fish. And
Wow.
we've flown up there, drove 100 miles, gone to the bank. You're walking by 2 moose on the way to the lake. There's one sipping from the water,
gosh.
and then my first cast is a 6-7 inch trout that they just stocked, and you go, what is this? No, that's
Yeah.
catchable.
Yeah.
So there is nothing like, West Virginia. We spent all of last week in Connecticut. We did a really, some really good fishing there. And they have a pretty good program too, but West Virginia is really in a class of its own. And it's West Virginia, I would make similar to like a Cherokee fishery,
Okay.
or a Gatlinburg fishery. The difference is those two places stock 99% rainbows.
Yeah.
Where in West Virginia, you can catch just about anything. And some of these places, you never know what you're going to catch because there's so many different fish, different species of fish all put in one system. And I know you guys are, go ahead.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I love about our stocking program, that it has those multiple species.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, Chris, we're going to take a break real quick and hear a word from our sponsors, and we're going to talk about those wonderful West Virginia waters when we come back.
Thank you.
This episode of On the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls is brought to you by Outdoor Pro Shop, LLC. Outdoor Pro Shop is a family-owned and operated firearms dealer and sporting goods retailer. They have pay-over-time options, a rewards program, and customer service satisfaction that is unmatched. They might not be the biggest, but they strive to be the best. Contact them today at 240-360-1298 or visit them on the web at www.outdoor-pro-shop.com. That's Outdoor Pro Shop, 240-360-1298. All right, guys, we're back with Chris Shaffer and Pautzke Baits and Pautzke Outdoors. So Dan's going to do our salute to valor.
Yeah, I am going to do our salute this evening. So tonight our salute is going to go out to a Army buddy of mine that I served with, to Staff Sergeant Brandon Desroches, as we called him, Roach. He was in the Army Infantry, served for over 8 years. He did 3 tours, 2 to Iraq and 1 to Afghanistan, all with Triple Deuce Alpha Company at the 10th Mountain Division. He multitude of awards, I'm sure. He didn't list many or any, so he just wanted to state that he always loved hearing all of First Sergeant Carr's bullshit stories. And that man could tell some stories, let me tell you. Yes, so
that's awesome.
We appreciate your service, Brandon, and thank you for your service.
Yep, thank you for your service, Brandon. God bless you, sir. All right, so let's get into some of those streams that we want to mention here. Now, Chris, you said that you had some other streams that you would like to throw in the mix of these, but we're just going to start out with one that you all have done here recently, I believe, and it was the Greenbrier River Trail.
Greenbrier River was, I want to say, be honest, it's not my favorite place.
Okay.
It is an amazing fishery. It's got great scenery, but it wasn't as easy to fish as we expected it to be. Reason being, there just weren't many holes. And we walked about 2 to 3 miles in, and we didn't see many holes at all. Small runs,
Okay.
but not those big pools that you're used to seeing in
Yes.
West Virginia, where you're like, oh, I know there's going to be a fish in here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And, it was great to go in there because other than a couple of fly guys that we saw filming their own videos, we didn't see anybody else the whole day. And that
Wow.
is not common in West Virginia. Normally, we are walking away from people to try to find a hole that's open,
Yeah.
and there you don't have that problem. We did the Buchanan rail once, and that was very similar, but the Buchanan rail had amazing holes and, different deep pools and things like that, where, the Greenbrier rail, that one, don't get me wrong, we caught some nice fish, but we had to work really hard just because the pools weren't there that we expected to see, like you would in other places.
Yeah, but sometimes that's the fun of it. It's working hard for them. It makes you test your skill sets there.
Yeah.
So let's move on with that to Shaver's Fork.
To me, that's one of our favorite fisheries in the country. It is astonishing to me how many fish they actually put in that system. And even we've been in there on Saturdays where there's people everywhere catching fish, and you can still catch fish because they put so many different trout in that system. And, we like the area up by the hatchery just because there's a lot of nice holes and a lot of nice pools.
Yes.
And you can walk through those campgrounds and do really well. And we've probably been there over the course of about 15 years, I would say 4 or 5 times in that system. We've, done upper section. We've done the section right by Bowden. We've gone a little bit lower, and everywhere we've been, we've always been successful. And sure, the size can range. I mean, some years we went there and we caught nothing but 10 inches, and then other years we've gone there and 2 to 3 pounds was the average fish. And I think that's just luck of the draw. You never know what they're going to throw in the week you're there. You just got to just get lucky. And the truth is, what I like the most about that is that's one of the systems that seems to fish even when other places get blown out. I know, sure, sometimes it gets blown out as well, but not as often as some of the other places we've been to. Last year we filmed in Charleston the day that they had the tornado. We were sitting there on the lake, and honestly, I was getting tornado warnings to my phone, and we never left because I'm like, we're in southern West Virginia. There's not going to be a tornado here. And sure enough, it came right over top of us. We got skirted by the edge of it. And then I remember the next 3 days, we ended up driving 200 miles south out of West Virginia to find a place to fish because you guys had some of the most insane floods that I think you guys have seen in a long time.
Yeah.
Sure. That was a wild couple of days that we spent there.
Yeah.
So something about Shaver's Fork that's funny. I'm going to mention this here because it's not ironic that, this happened, but it was last weekend. Me and my son went to Shaver's Fork. It was it was last Monday.
Yeah.
So
Monday.
we went Monday morning,
and
we get up there and we get out of the truck and we're getting all of our stuff ready. And I told my son, I said, that guy over there's got a Pautzke hat on, and he's over there sitting on a log, near the bridge. And I'm like, I was like, I bet you he's definitely a big Pautzke bait fan, not knowing, okay. And I just watched the Durban fishing trip that you all done there at the Greenbrier Rail Trail.
Yeah.
And I seen Pat, and I was like, I watched him all through the video catch fish. I mean, he was smashing the fish there. And he comes walking across the bridge, and I'm like, I'll be darned. I said, I just watched you on a video last night. He said, yeah, I bet you did. I said, I love that hat. I was like, so you're the one that got me on these chartreuse and hot pink eggs, mixing them as a combo. And he was like, yeah. He's like, I love doing that. So we got to standing there around there talking and all this. And come to find out, they live very close to there. And I would have never have known this, And they were just some of the nicest people. We talked about Chris. I was like, here. I even showed him the email. I was like, here I am emailing Chris last night trying to get this podcast scheduled. And it was like 12 o'clock. And he was like, man, that's crazy. He was like, we love Chris. We love going out fishing with Chris. But he said, I tell you what, he makes us work when we go out. We don't just get to fish.
That's good.
But no, they were some great guys, him and his brother Mike.
Those guys love Tudor's Biscuit World. Don't let them tell you they don't. Because they tell me they don't eat it.
Anyone who comes to West
Virginia.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. If you don't stop at Tudor's when you're in West Virginia, there's something wrong with
something
you.
wrong.
Yeah. It's Tudor's Biscuit World and pepperoni rolls.
That's right.
When you
That's all
grow
you
up
need.
on those biscuits and you get older, you have to cut back and start eating their wraps. Because you can't lose weight fast enough when you get older.
That's it.
Oh, gosh, that's so funny. No, Shaver's Fork is one of my favorite places to go, and we always go right there at the Bemis section, and that's the one that we had seen them there at that day. But it was just a great time. We wasn't catching any fish. Pat came across the bridge. He had his limit. And, that place.
Because he wasn't using Pautzke baits.
No, we was. And we had just stopped at Walmart and stocked up. I mean, I just bought all new eggs. I had a bunch of them in my vest, but they had went and, I've had them in there for several years, and they kind of get a little rancid after several years. But so we stocked up on all the new stuff. Had to get the chartreuse ones because I did not have those. I did have pink. But, yeah, I mean, there was 30 or 40 fish you could see in there. And they went, these guys are living the life. They go up to their place. They sit there for a little bit, eat lunch, come back, fish again. And I'm like, man, this is just the life. So they come back. They didn't catch anything on their next run back in, but they've been fished a good bit, sure. in the past couple of weeks when we went there. So, and that happens. But
ironically, we get a lot of complaints from people in West Virginia. I can't find your product anywhere. they don't sell it in West Virginia. I'm like, every Walmart in the state carries a ton of our product. They're like, really?
Yeah.
I go to Walmart. I said, well, then how do you not see it?
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Not looking hard enough.
That's one of the things that I had heard you mention on your videos, and I was like, why are these people not finding this? It's in Walmart.
yeah, we only have 30 products in that store. So,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot there.
And they're on
you
end
know,
caps, too. It's not like they're stuck in there somewhere where you can't find them.
no, it's pretty easy to find, and every single store in the state carries it. So
Yeah.
if you can't find it, you're not looking.
That's right.
It's been there for 75 years, you know?
Yeah.
Yep. So one of the things that I wanted to hit on real quick is, so we were talking there, and I didn't know this, but Atlas Mics is now a part of Pautzke Baits. Pautzke acquired Atlas Mics.
We acquired them about, I think, 7 years ago. We've been careful to make sure we keep the companies separate. We don't want to,
Okay.
you know, we don't want to change the way Atlas Mike's products look or how good they are or cut any corners. So we've kept all their recipes, and all their product remains the same. It's just in order to keep prices down, we had to acquire them and put everything under one roof. I mean,
That's awesome.
people complain. They go, man, the price of eggs keeps going up. I remember when we got twice as many eggs in one jar, and now it's twice as expensive. I mean, unfortunately, everything has gone up.
It has.
Oh,
yeah.
And things are crazy right now, and we're hoping the new administration can fix things because it can't get worse than it has the last 4 years. You know?
Well, you know, the time we were there at Walmart, we had 4 or 5 things of jars of eggs, and we had like 3 or 4 things of hooks, and got a couple bobbers. So we're looking at about $36, which is not bad. I mean,
No.
when you're refreshing your tackle box like that, you're going to spend some money anyways. But if you're looking for just one jar, I mean, you're only looking at like $4.
Yeah.
It's not that bad. So
we agree with you. Not everybody does.
that's for sure. So let's talk about the Blackwater River.
The Blackwater River is one of my favorites. And I want to say, I'll never forget this. I went with Pat, you know, this was about 5 or 6 years ago. And I said, cross this off the list, man. We did so well. We're never coming back. And guess what? We've been back almost every year since. And it's because I can't believe the number of fish they put in there, the frequency that they stock it, and more important, the number of places there is to fish. I mean, last year we went to Canaan Valley for the first time and did that section. We had never done that before. You know, normally we go right in Davis and we drive upriver and we go to that $1 billion bridge or whatever they call it that they built in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And we try to get a spot up there. I mean, there is so many good spots on the Blackwater River. The only thing that seems to be challenging is the number of people that are coming in from Maryland and Pennsylvania and other places. It just swells the crowds. But even when it's busy, we're still catching fish. And it's just a testament to the amount of fish that the state puts in there. But that is one of our favorites. We won't be going there this year, I promise you.
Nice. So I don't know if a lot of people know. I mean, most West Virginians will probably know, but the Blackwater River is part of the Blackwater Falls.
Right.
Some people couldn't put 2 and 2 together, but you actually hit the Blackwater River as you get into Parsons there, I believe. Isn't that right?
Well, you can if
Coming
by Parsons,
from-
but
yeah, coming from
Davis
Elkins.
is the best area to go through.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
The amount of fishable water up and downstream of Davis, there are miles, and I'm not talking about a mile. I'm talking about miles.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I
You get tired
often
of
wonder, how long does it take them to stock that river? I've often wondered. I mean, when you have as many stocking points as they do, we've often wondered, one, how do you fit this many fish in one truck, and how long does it take? Because every hole we go to somehow has fish in it, and I'm sure even with the amount of times we've been there, we've probably only found a small portion of the total number of places that they stock there. It's incredible.
That's awesome. How about Marsh Fork? We'll talk on that one a little bit.
So last year I called the state and I'm like, listen, we want to go somewhere different. Do you guys have any suggestions? You know, we don't do as much in the southern part of the state as we'd like to. And they said, you know, we've been stocking this place called Marsh Fork for decades. It is a monthly, but there's always fish there. And we drove in there and we didn't want to leave. I was really surprised at, you know, the upper stretches that they stock. And for those of you that don't know, how do we find where we go? West Virginia has probably the best online atlas that there is. You can go online and use their different programs to click on them, and they have dots showing exactly where it's stocked.
Oh, nice.
So it doesn't, you don't need to try to figure things out on your own. They tell you where to go. And we started on the upper stretch and we worked our way down for a couple miles. And the change that small stream has is very, dramatic. What I mean is the upper end is like almost dead water, barely flows. Then you start going down a little bit. You got some rocks. Then you go another mile and a half down. I remember we went behind this firehouse and there was a hole the size of an Olympic-sized swimming pool there. And one of the homeowners said they haven't stocked it yet this month. Well, guess what? We caught a dozen fish out of that hole. Right. And that just tells you how many fish that they put in there. And it's just a phenomenal fishery. Now, we kind of got lost a couple of times because if you look up Marsh Fork on a map, just regular Google Maps, there's a couple different ones that come up in the state of West Virginia. So we had to go to their atlas and pin a few points and find our way there. But once we did, it was impressive, the number of fish that were still in the system. And we struggled a little bit because here's how we work West Virginia. We look for goldens. Because if there's a golden, it tells us there's other fish near it. And that's been a thing I'll never forget. About 2 years ago, we're on one of the systems and I couldn't find the fish. And I put the drone up in the air and I went over the river. I'm like, I just saw a golden. And we walked into that spot and we went in and caught fish. The goldens don't always bite for us, but what they do is they come in there and they show you, hey, there's a golden, there's going to be other fish nearby, because they don't just stock goldens. They obviously stock other species that are in there that you can't always see in some of these bigger holes. So that's one trick that we've used for years, is looking for goldens to find other fish.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, you was talking about how useful you can use West Virginia's information to find trout streams and stuff like that. For the listeners that don't know, trout routes is a good way to find your fishing spots and streams as well. We use them a lot. I know I do for sure. Because I travel a lot, so I'm looking different states. Okay, well, where's a good spot here? A lot of states I go to.
Yeah, it's not just for West Virginia.
Yeah, no,
it's U.S. wide.
It's U.S. wide, and they have put the time into these.
Yeah, they've mapped over 50,000 miles of streams.
Yes, they have a pro program also, so that if you go with a pro route, it will give you everything you need to know about that stream, basically. It'll also allow you to find the nearest fly shops or bait shops in that area and get a background of the property. So I don't know if you use trout routes, but I would highly recommend checking them out.
Something similar, if you've ever used Onyx Maps, Onyx Hunt.
Okay, I've seen Onyx, yeah.
It's the same format. So Trout Routes was an independent company a year or two ago. Last year, they were just acquired by Hunt Map or Onyx Maps and Onyx Hunt. So it's now a part of that family. They still leave it separate and call it Trout Routes because it's obviously a separate thing. But they've also got, Onyx Off-Road.
Onyx Trails.
Yeah,
Onyx...
they've got a ton of stuff. So they've got the mapping industry locked down.
Yeah, they do for sure.
But it's great products. Chris, we'll get you hooked up with those for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah, you would love it. Like I said, I use it when I was in Missouri, and I'm like, there's got to be some trout streams in here. There's not very many. I was highly disappointed in the location I was. Now there's several other streams and stuff, but just not where I was at in the state.
So Chris, one of the other videos that I've recently watched was the North Fork of the South Branch of Potomac River that you all was at. You did mention, we'll hit briefly on this one, but you did mention some of the other ones that you like that are your favorites in West Virginia. Hit on those too, if you don't care, please.
So, the North Fork of the South Branch of the Potomac, I always tell people, say that 10 times in a row. It was really interesting the last time we were there. Now, we've been there 3 or 4 times in 15 years. And last time we were there, we walked up to this hole right across from the gas station. We went down. And I'm like, oh, there's fish here. There's 5 or 6 golden still there. And this guy told us at the gas station he'd try to catch them all morning, but couldn't catch them. And we filmed almost 80% of our video, ended up catching some nice fish. And I turned around because there was water coming down behind me, and the stocking truck pulled up and was throwing fish over our head. And we're like, wait a minute. Wow. These are from last week? And I just couldn't believe it. I mean, we came in on a Thursday. I think it was a Thursday. And we filmed an entire video, and then I looked up, and they had thrown 50 goldens over our head, and now there was fish everywhere. you know, and we get a lot of people tell us, oh, you guys just follow the truck every day, this and that, blah, blah, blah. I wish we did every day because we'd film 10 videos a day, not one.
Yeah,
And,
for sure.
it's tough because we thought that they had just stocked it the day before and they didn't. They came in and threw them over our head. Now we walked up and left because we had already finished our video.
Wow.
But it just shows you some of these places in West Virginia get so many fish that they hold over. Now there's also other places. I'm sure you guys have heard of the West Fork of the Greenbrier.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We got there, and I swear to God, the fish were gone within 5 minutes. And Laurel Fork was even worse.
I've heard that.
Laurel Fork is a hard one to fish because it gets hit hard.
I think that the poachers up in that area were pretty bad.
Yeah.
We went there one day at 3:00 because that in West Virginia they posted at 3:00, which I personally don't like. That just creates crowds, but I understand why they do it. But we went there at 3:00. We probably got there at 4 because it took us a while to get there, and there were no fish left. And anybody that's been there before, knows that the fish are in pools in certain places, and they were all gone. And the only way that can happen is if people are poaching. And unfortunately, we do see a lot of poaching in West Virginia and in every state. It's unfortunate. For me, if we're fishing and filming, we want a fish to take that bobber down to make good video. Why would anybody want to snag a fish or not catch it legally? I don't know, but there's a lot of people that are that way,
Yep.
So there's one place that is my favorite place in the state.
That's what I was getting ready to ask. What's your favorite river or any other ones that you would like to mention?
People are going to think we're crazy, but Mill Creek of the New River, we went last year for the first time, and you guys are going to see some videos released this year from there.
Nice.
The first time we went, it's real close to the New River and the big bridge and all that stuff down there just south of Summersville. It's just, kind of between Beckley and Summersville. And we went last year and we had read, it was just stocked today, and it's a monthly. So we tried to go the next morning, and it was the day after that tornado hit Charleston. And we got there, and that place looked like the Mississippi River. And they had stocked it the day before, and we thought, man, we're screwed. We ended up coming back about a week later on a Friday, and the water had come down, and there were fish everywhere. And then we waited. We came back about a month. West Virginia, we filmed 2 weeks worth of videos there last year. Came back about a month later, and we waited, and we saw, 3:00, let's go. We went the next morning. We caught 5, 6, 7-pound tigers out of that creek. We caught some of the biggest fish we've ever caught in West Virginia. And the reason why we like it so much is, where else can you go where you can fish several waterfalls?
Oh, yeah.
We did talk to the boys in Marlington when we met their truck at Babcock once, and we said to them, hey, do you really stock all these waterfalls on Mill? And they're like, yeah. Why do you think our pants are full of mud and we got poison oak all over our legs and, this and that? Because we stock all of these waterfalls.
Yep.
So we just, like everybody else, walked down there, hiked down there, and there were fish in every one of them. And it's one of the prettiest places we've ever been. To me, the prettiest place to fish in the state of West Virginia is Babcock State Park. The waterfalls in areas, the small waterfalls in front of the mills, the old mill, the rock, the everything, that is one of our favorites. And we actually found that place by accident. We were in Walmart, there's a Walmart just south of Summersville. I forget the exact town that it's in. And some guy walked up to us and he's like, hey, you're the Pautzke guys. We're like, yeah, thanks for watching. He goes, what are you doing today? I said, we're going to Summersville Tailwater. He goes, no, you're not. You're going to Babcock. And I said, why are we going to Babcock? He goes, they stock it every 2 weeks. They're going to stock it today. And we're like, how do you know this? He goes, it's Thursday. They always stock it on Thursday. And we're like, seriously? He goes, I'd get there in about an hour. So we drove there. Sure enough, we drove up and the truck was already there stocking. So I went over and filmed them and, got some really great footage of the things that they do. And I couldn't believe the locals know the schedules. And it was pretty interesting. So those are our two favorite places. The one place that we were real disappointed is, I don't know if you guys have ever been to the back fork of the Elk before. It's, kind of near Webster Springs. It's a mile away from Webster Springs.
I know where it's at. I mean, I've never really trout fished it. I've fished it for like smallies and stuff like that, but I've never trout fished it.
So that's a pretty remote water. You got to drive several miles back, and it's
Right.
a catch and release water until a certain date. Well, we went there last year, and we were so excited. Some of the prettiest water we've ever seen, crystal clear holes, big, huge rocks, amazing. We caught 2 trout, and that was during the catch and release season. And we spent about 4 or 5 hours there with 2 guys that really know how to fish.
Wow.
Both these guys are steelhead guides in Michigan. They know what they're doing.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
We could not catch fish. And it was because somebody said to themselves, I know it's catch and release, but there's nobody back here. I'm going to catch and keep. And they were all gone. And
Yeah.
we did call the state and say, hey, is this a kind of a common problem back here? And they said, yeah, you know, we only have so many game wardens out here that can control this problem. And we
Yeah.
understand that. That place was amazing. We had the same problem in probably one of the most top 5 most famous places in the state, Paint Creek.
Yeah.
You know,
I fished it.
we
a lot.
hit Paint hard. And let me tell you, we caught 4 fish all day.
Really?
A lot of easy access on side-by-sides and
There is, yeah.
four-wheelers on Paint Creek.
Well, you got
Yeah.
the Morton service station.
Yeah.
There's a huge pool right behind the service
So-
station right there.
And that,
Plus,
yeah,
that's
that
where
was
the
a lot
dock
of the
is, right?
same-
Plus, it's close to Charleston.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah,
people
so
gonna hit it.
that dock right there is where it turns over from catch and release to
Yeah.
you can use anything you want.
Yep.
But on the dock is still catch and release. And we were there last year. We saw guys with our eggs, guys with power bait, guys with worms. And I'm like, hey, you guys know there's a sign right there that says no
Yeah.
bait, right?
No artificial.
Until, or, you know, and they're like, we don't care.
Right.
So we knew why all the fish were gone. So,
Yeah.
but Paint Creek is just a beautiful place. I think it's, I wish the state had more fish. I know everybody wants them to stock every creek every week all year.
Yeah.
And I know the state wishes they could do that, but I don't think people realize the number of waters in the state that you guys do stock.
Oh, yeah.
I know. It's amazing.
It's incredible that they're able to produce as many fish as they are.
Yep.
But, you know, those are a couple of our favorite places. I would say the one place that's kicked our butt over and over and over again, we've never got a good video at Cooper's Rock Lake up near Morgantown.
Oh, really?
Wow.
So 2 years ago, we were there the week after Gold Rush, and there were probably, it's a busy place. Everybody loves that place. And I would say there were 25 people fishing, and I walked around before we got there, or before we started fishing. I'm like, Jesus, I only see 2 fish caught. It was 2 o'clock in the afternoon. These people said they'd been there all day.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I'm like, something's not right here. I put the drone up. There were probably 500 Goldens swimming around in circles, not eating anything.
Oh, my
Wow.
goodness.
And we didn't get a bite that day.
Man.
So people that think we always catch fish, we always get a video. No, we don't.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, that's
nobody
for sure.
always catches fish. If you always catch fish, you're a liar. Simple
That's
as
right.
that,
Yeah.
you know?
yep.
Well, Chris,
So
it's been great having you this evening. You are such an awesome guest. I mean, you're this episode is going to be great to edit because I won't have any dead space. We sure
Well, I
appreciate
appreciate
your
you guys
time.
letting me come on. I mean, we sure love West Virginia, and I've become a big Mountaineer fan over the years. I mean,
Yeah.
That's great. We
I
love
try
it.
to make basketball every year too.
Nice.
Nice.
Well, we sure appreciate your support for the state and for our sports and stuff like that, and coming back and putting money into our system. We love it, and we thank you for it.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have to hook up when you get in town here, and we'll do some trout fishing.
Yep.
I'm all about
Perfect.
it.
All right. If you hang on there after we get off the phone, we'll talk to you a little more after the episode. But, folks, we appreciate you this evening. We appreciate you listening and watching our live. And be sure to go check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcast.
Yeah, don't forget, check out naturesvoicegamecalls.com. Use podcast 15 at checkout for 15% off your entire order.
Chris,
Thanks,
again,
guys.
thank you. We sure appreciate you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you. Have a good night. This episode of On the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls is brought to you by Longspur Tracking and Outfitting. Longspur has 28 trackers covering 9 states: West Virginia, Virginia, Ohio, Maryland, Pennsylvania, Kentucky, Illinois, and Iowa. Check them out for all your tracking needs on their Facebook page or visit them at www.whitetaildeertracking.com. Or contact them today at 304-439-1659. Longspur Tracking and Outfitting. www.whitetaildeertracking.com or 304-439-1659. Contact them today.